My name is Mike Cooper, and as mayor of the city of Covington, it's an honor for me this afternoon to welcome you all here to Covington in the front of the St. Tammany Parish Justice Center here in downtown Covington. For this occasion, a welcome home rally for Thor. As we know, Thor was involved in an incident on Tuesday and has been getting an outpouring of prayers and support. And we are so glad that we can be here today to welcome Thor back to be reunited with his handler. I'm on behalf of the Covington Police Department and all local law enforcement, I welcome you here and thank you for being here. And we look forward to what's going to happen in the next few minutes.
Guys, thank you all for being here, and it's a privilege for me, obviously, to be able to present Thor to you today, but I have to give you a little background of how we got here, how we got to this point. Before I do that, I want to acknowledge so many important people here, not only important to our parish, but important to the Sheriff's Office and the family of deputies that we have. I want to begin with our Parish President, Pat Brister. Thank you, Ms. Pat, for being here. Our school superintendent, Trey Folse. Trey attended, guys, literally the outpouring from our school, our students has been incredible from across the parish. The response and the get well cards that you see behind me coming from the students. So we asked Trey to be here and we appreciate your involvement. Our assessor, Fitzmorris, is also here. Jeff Dorson, I tried to get him to come up front. A longtime partner and friend, Jeff Dorson, of the Louisiana Humane Society, is with us as well. We're going to ask him to say something in a few moments. And before I make the ultimate announcement, and that is bringing Thor forward, I want to recognize Miss Helen Prime. Miss Helen, if you would step up for just a second. Miss Helen actually is responsible for Thor. She purchased Thor for us about 3 years ago. A St. Tammany Parish resident who supports law enforcement wanted to do that, and I want to see if you want to say a few words.
I was delighted to second the selection of Thor from the candidates who came down. And it wasn't purchasing only a dog, animals, which I love, but it was supporting law enforcement. It's critical that we all support law enforcement. Critical. I'm delighted. He's a great dog. Great dog. Thank you,
Thank you, Miss Helen. Guys, and I don't know if you recognize what Miss Helen said. There's a selection process that we go through. I did an interview this morning with People Magazine. People Magazine. Their first question was, how is the selection process made for an animal be selected as K-9, and can any animal be a K-9? My response was, no more than any human can be a deputy, can any any dog be a K-9. It takes a rigorous amount of training, a lot of work, and at the end, you get a partnership between K-9 and human that is second to none. And we're here today to recognize that incredible partnership and relationship. But as I said, we have to recognize how we got here. This past Tuesday, our deputies received a call to go to a burglary in the Mandeville area, a home burglary, where an individual arrived at her home and two people were walking out with her belongings. Gave an incredible description to our deputies of the automobile, including a license plate, that our deputies were able to find the vehicle very quickly. Once deputies got behind the vehicle, they abandoned it, the two individuals abandoned it, and the foot pursuit began. One of the two individuals was caught immediately. The second was on a 4.5-hour track. 4.5 hours that our deputies and K-9s tracked this individual to ultimately bring them to justice for the crime of burglary. Now you can imagine there was a lot going on in the residential community. Our deputies convened on that area and was able to contain the individual in an area, a wooded area, that impacted as few of our residents as possible. And after 4.5 hours, finally, Thor alerted on where he believed that individual was. That individual had buried himself in a massive pile of debris. So our deputies, as they approach, as you can understand, had to do so carefully because they're following the lead of Thor. And as they approached the debris, the individual came out wielding a knife and attempted to stab one of our deputies. When Thor went into action and literally saved that first deputy's life. Now, that's not the first time, guys. I think it's important to remember that when we look at these work animals as deputy, it's not the first time that Thor has put himself in that situation in pursuit of an offender from St. Tammany. A couple of years in 2014, you may have heard Thor's story where he pursued a very long track of nearly 4 hours. Thor tracked an individual to the Bogafly River, and as he apprehended that individual, the social media dubbed Spider-Man grabbed Thor, dove into the river, and held him underwater, trying to drown him. It was his handler at that point who dove in, went into the current, and saved Thor's life. So there's been a lot of discussion on social media of the save, not only of the handler saving Thor's life, and now Thor, a trained K-9, saving our deputy's life. And for that, we'll always be internally grateful for him. You look around the crowd, we have several family members of the sheriff's office here, and I can tell you every one of those guys go out every day and face incredible odds, even in our parish, guys. And we should certainly keep them in their prayers. And I can tell you to a person, on behalf of all of the residents of St. Tammany Parish, guys, we thank God that you make it home each and every day at the end of your tour of duty, as much as we thank God that Thor made it home safely as well. So with that, I know we have to stay within about a 30-minute time frame for lunch. It's my extreme honor to introduce to you the actual person of the hour, and that is Thor, K-9 Thor, and his handler, Deputy Ron Olivier, along with members of our St. Tammany Parish K-9 team. Sergeant Robert Edwards and his K-9. Deputy Denny Moore and his K-9. Okay, guys, with that, Fred, and again, this is very informal. I wanted to end my remarks by saying, guys, this started very simply. This started with us finding out that Thor would be released from the hospital today, and it started in our office as wanting to come together. Our staff wanted to welcome Thor home from the hospital and also acknowledge our deputies' efforts out there that day, that they came home safe. And then that's how this began. And it quickly grew from the sheriff's office to the entire courthouse, and then the public's involved. The media found out about it, and as you can see, it now has become a media event. But it is, on behalf of everyone here, guys, our sincere appreciation for the duties that you do every day, oftentimes unrecognized, but today not forgotten. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff. I was looking around at these three dogs, and I was looking at which one I'd rather go against. And to be honest with you, out of all three, I think this would be the last one that I chose, and probably one of these would be one of the others. But having said that, it's hard to top what the sheriff said, but I want to say one last thing before President Brister gets up and makes a proclamation. These officers are here for one reason, and that one reason is the dog right here. And we can't stress enough to Ms. Prine and everyone else who has contributed to this officer's safety. And there's nothing else I can say except thank you, Ms. Prine. Thank you to the citizens, and thank you very much for the support. It means everything to us. And again, they wouldn't be here today without that support from the citizens and this dog right here. So one last round of applause. Thank you very much. And of course, Mr. Jeff Dorson. He's been an ally of ours and been working very closely with Mr. Dorson. So, please say a few words.
Thank you so much. I'll be brief. Nice to be here today. Thank you, Sheriff. Thank you, everybody. I think we can learn from this. Look how this has brought us together. In other communities, there's somewhat of a gap between law enforcement and the community at large. But take a look. Thanks to the Sheriff Strain and everybody else, that gap's been closed. We're fully in partnership with law enforcement and the community at large. I think it says a lot about you, Sheriff, and your deputies. Worked very hard to make it happen. Last thing is, Sheriff Strain was the first sheriff in the state to create an anti-cruelty task force about 2 months ago. We've already met twice. This is a huge new idea, an initiative to bring everybody to the table to help solve crimes against animals. It's been done not everywhere, it's been done in other parts of the country, but never here. So again, that's a whole new tool that we can use to help protect our animals throughout the parish. And again, I thank Sheriff Strain for that. And the last remark is, Sheriff Strain actually had another idea, is how do we help animals throughout the state for the rest of the years ahead, and that is to create an anti-cruelty fund and also to buy vests for the dogs. So if that interests you, please go to our website, Humane Society of Louisiana, or the sheriff can direct you how to make those donations so that we can give them all protective vests that they so deserve. One more time, take a look. How does it feel to be a part of this wonderful community? I think it feels great. Thank you, Sheriff.
All right, with that, I'm going to welcome President Pat Brister up and make a proclamation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. Just a quick story. A couple of weeks ago, we did a luncheon, a law enforcement appreciation luncheon for all of our officers. And it was my mistake. We didn't include the K-9s. And we will never make that mistake again. They're just as important as all of our officers. So we have learned our lesson. So thank you. And thank you for allowing me to read this proclamation. Whereas Thor has served as a deputy with the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office for 2 years, and whereas Deputy Thor has been assaulted in the line of duty on 2 occasions. First, his partner saved him from drowning, and then he saved his partner from being stabbed. And whereas Deputy Thor has gone above and beyond the call of duty and has performed his duties in an exemplary manner, and whereas Deputy Thor's steadfast bravery and dedication to his duties, to his partner, to the St. Tammany Parish Sheriff's Office, and to the citizens of St. Tammany Parish is unparalleled. Therefore, I, Patricia Brister, as Parish President of St. Tammany, do hereby recognize, commend, and honor Deputy Thor for his service and proclaim October 23rd, 2015 be observed in St. Tammany Parish as Deputy Thor Day. And I encourage all citizens of St. Tammany Parish to thank our law enforcement officers for keeping us safe, and that includes Deputy Thor. So, Sheriff, I will give this to you and his partner, if you'd like.
Why don't you come over?
Okay.
Make sure.
Because Thor has to
Don't
be
get on the
there.
business end of him.
I won't. I'm going to stand back.
And you want to accept the flag?
Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Thank you, Sheriff.